Come on in. Get in here. Come on, we need you. Strengthen Your Soul is starting. It's Monday. We're back. Get in here. Come on in. Come on in. Grab a drink. We need to do some work. We got work to do. It's time for us to talk about your soul. Hey, it's good to see you. Come on in. As always, a review of our schedule. 8 o'clock we open up. 8:01 we grab a drink. 8:02-ish, maybe a little bit earlier, we get going. We talk about our topic for tonight. Then at 8:10 we try something. And again, by way of reminder, the goal is here to have a strong soul, to be deeply spiritually connected to God and to others. And part of what we're doing here is this. We're looking at some of the teachings of Jesus and go, do these really work to give you a life full of spiritual fervor, joy, happiness, hope? Jesus said, come to me, all you who are weary, and I'll give you rest for your soul. And so we're trying to find out if it works. Now, I know it does, but that's the sort of the point. It's to try stuff, to experiment. So anyways, grab a drink. You got about 30 seconds. Tonight, somebody told me I needed to drink something stronger. So I decided I would grab something a little bit stronger. I'm having a green tea with tropical fruits and flower petals. A little extra kick on a Monday night. But I'm happy to take a recommendation from any of you. And with that being said, hope you got a drink. Let's get going. Let's take a drink together. Cheers. So let's talk about your soul. Before we dive in, though, I do want to do one thing. I want to make to you a bit of a book recommendation from a friend of mine who's very near and dear. He's been a mentor. Him and his wife, Terry, Doug is his name, or Douglas. And they have been unbelievably instrumental in helping me experience an unbelievable strengthening of the soul. And so Douglas, he released a book called The Empowerment Pivot over the past a week ago. It's for people inside of faith. So if you're outside of faith, it may be too heavy for you. It may also encourage you to really go in and go after all that faith can be, faith in Jesus. But it might not be for you. But if you are inside of faith, so again, if you're outside of faith, read the book. It'd be great, but it just might be stretching. For you, those of you inside the faith, inside of following Jesus, this book is about how God is redefining our view of normal. How actually the promises of Jesus actually are true completely, even now today in the 21st century. So it's on Kindle. It's on Amazon. You can get a real tangible copy. I actually got the privilege of reading it early, and some of Doug's and my conversation have actually ended up in some of the thoughts, at least, within the book. And I got to play a small part in editing it. So anyways, I can't recommend it to you enough. Pick up this book. It's fantastic. It's a great read. It's a couple hundred pages. It's 155 pages, which is actually really nice because it doesn't waste your time. Some books go way too long. But Doug here, he gets to the point and he challenges you to experience more and a deeper strengthening of your soul. So, and perhaps one day when we're through this coronavirus, Doug will sit down with us and talk to us all about how do you strengthen your soul. So with that being said, let's talk about your soul. Let's talk about my soul. Last night, I got a phone call from a friend who they started off like this. I'm calling you because I love you and because I'm frustrated by you. Which is not, they called and couldn't answer. They left that was their voicemail. And I listened to that voicemail and I was not looking forward to this phone call. Because with this friend in particular, we've moved our friendship to a place where we just practice what I call the discipline of honesty. It's a term used by a friend and mentor of mine, Martin Sanders. But it's this idea Jordan Peterson talks about it, but always tell the truth, or at least never lie. So here's the big idea that we're going to talk about today. It's this concept. Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. That when you speak, your words are spoken in truth. Because if you learn to speak in a truthful way, you'll actually be able to connect deeply with other people. You won't construct a world of lies that are like, sandcastles ready to fall apart at any moment. And you'll be able to connect with the Father of your soul, with God, the universe, with Jesus. Because God is one who always tells the truth. So my friend, he called me, and we work on a bunch of projects together. And one of the things that I'd done to frustrate him was I'd made a couple of decisions that would actually affect his life. I wasn't even thinking of him, and it just hurt him. I just made him feel disregarded. And so he walked through like 3 or 4 ways in which I just sort of ticked him off. And then afterwards I said, actually, I got to talk to you about something. And we just had it out. We just laid out all of our frustrations on the table right in front of us so that we could deal with them. Now hear me. At the end of that conversation, we got to say to one another, I love you more now. I'm sorry I'm frustrated. I'm sorry I let you down. The reason why we were able to do that is because we were entirely honest. And when you're entirely honest, all the pent-up frustration and anger in your soul has a chance to release. It also gives you a chance to process. So let's walk it through. Let's just throw up a few notes. This concept, discipline of honesty, no spin zone, always tell the truth, yes be yes, no be no, whatever you want to call it. It has a couple of benefits. One, you never have to remember. We've all lied. We've all lied. We've lied to our spouses. We've lied to our friends. We've lied to our kids. If you have kids, man, if you have kids, you're like, sometimes you lie to your kids, not even wanting to lie to your kids. For instance, you say to them, we're going to go outside and play this afternoon. That'd be so great. Yeah, I'd love to do that. And then this afternoon rolls around and you're like, oh man, more than anything, I'd love to just sit on the couch. I don't want to play in the snow or the sand, depending on where you are. I just want to sit. And we actually can create a world where speaking words has no influence on our behavior. Our commitment through our words, we can just break. But when you always say the truth, and when you lie also, you got to remember what you lied about and who you lied to and what you said and what were the details. And so with the discipline of honesty, you never need to remember. Number 2. I'll have healed relationships. Now hear me, what you didn't see is I didn't write healthy relationships. You'll have healed relationships. Now, why the distinction? Number 1 is this. There is a level of pain that you go through when you become a person who begins to tell the truth all the time. Now, I'm not saying when you tell the truth all the time, you learn to actually say what you mean, navigate your own feelings, and help people get set free. So when you do that, however, when you tell the truth all the time, or at least you don't lie, what happens is this: more conflict shows up. My wife and I, we've been married now for 11 years almost, 11 years in June. And in the past year or so, we've made lots of strides in just telling each other the truth. When we're disappointed, when we're frustrated, when we're really happy, when we're excited, anxious, nervous, etc. And when you do that, there's more conflict. But hear me, after the conflict, there's way more healing. Your relationship is healed. So there's another benefit of always telling the truth is this: your integrity increases. Your integrity increases. People begin to count on your word. And then, one's a sub point, you grow in honest humility. At some point, we're going to have a talk about why you should never try to be humble. Maybe we'll do that. Excuse me. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Talk about why you should never try to be humble. But when you say what you mean and you mean what you intend, and you have this value of keeping your word, what happens is this: when you break your word, say on a commitment that you fully intended to meet, you become humble. You go, I'm really sorry. You don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to be proud. So how do you start to live this life out? And then what are we going to do to try? Because we're at that point now. One, we'll do a couple of thoughts. One, you need to decide. And you got to commit. And then you need to omit. Okay, so the first idea is deciding. So there is something about that happens when you make a decision versus wanting. So sometimes we want to make a change, but we do not decide to change. So if you want to become a person of integrity who tells the truth, you must say, I will do this. I will have a healthy soul. I will align myself on the side of truth, which is where God, where Christ always is. It's the way the universe, again, for those of you outside of faith, I use that terminology for you. I really believe when you say that, you're speaking of God. But that's the side of truth. So you must decide to be on that side. You can't just want to, because there are times when telling the truth will cost you, when it will hurt. Part B, you must commit. So the difference here is this: you must simply start. You must commit to telling the truth. And our exercise is going to be surrounded on this part right here. And then you must, see, this is really important. You must omit. Sometimes silence becomes your friend. Sometimes silence becomes your friend, not to deceive people, but rather not to hurt them. So for instance, you can tell the truth when, say you get in an argument with your spouse and you're not ready to process it. You're not ready yet. Your soul's not healed up. You haven't got a right angle with it. You don't have peace in your soul. Sometimes it's not helpful to go, let's talk about this right now. Let me tell you the truth. But it's better to go, I just need some processing time. And then you share. So decide, commit, omit. Okay, we're going to do a little reflection time. I'm going to erase this. I have totally left my whiteboard eraser at the office, full disclosure, where I sometimes film these, depending on my work and schedule. And didn't do that this time. So I forgot it there. So we're going to do 2 steps. We're going to try something. First is this. What is something true I need to hear today? So we're going to ask God, who is on the side of truth, what is something that you need to hear today? Again, the voice of the Father of your soul is strong. It is comforting. It is true. It may even be challenging, but it is never condemning. You may hear God say to you in your thoughts, in your mind. You might even hear a little whisper. You might see a picture. But you may hear something like this. It's time to change. It's time to change your eating. It's time to change what you watch on TV. Whatever. It's time to change how you talk to people. It's time to tell the truth. Here's the question. That's what we're going to ask. What is something I need to hear? So he may even challenge you, but he will never go, you're a loser. I'm ashamed of you. That is not the voice of God. It can be your own voice or even a dark spiritual voice. One day we'll talk about that. Number 2, this one's going to be the hard one. Where have I, again, we're asking God to help us become people who live in the truth. fully truthful. Okay, so we're going to think, we're going to pray, and then we're going to actually write down some stuff. Again, the goal is for us to progress, to actually step into the promise of Jesus that we would have rest for our soul. We only do that by hearing from him and then applying and living it out. If you only hear but do not apply, you will never know the power, you'll never know the healing of Jesus. So, I'm going to do this alongside you. Let's take 30 seconds and try it. You should write it down for yourself. So, Father, what is something true that I or you need to hear today? So for me, first thoughts that come to mind, I don't edit them. So mine was, you are truly loved and you are strong. Now the hard part. Where have I not been fully truthful? So for me, with my wife, about how tired I am. Okay, let me just walk you through mine so it gives context. Also, you just need to know this discipline of honesty shows up in every area of my life. So my wife and I have walked through like addictive behaviors before with me. Stuff that I just wish was never a part of my past, stuff I've looked at on the internet, etc., etc. But oh, it's healed. We have healed relationships when we live in the truth. So here's mine. With my wife, so God tells me I'm loved and I'm strong, and that's true. But also he says, with my wife, I haven't been honest about how tired I am. This season's had a bunch of complexity and difficulty. And leading, which I do, has created just a bit of a tiredness. And my wife and I, we have so much to grow in terms of praying together. It's really weird. It's one of the weaknesses of my life, is actually praying one-on-one with my wife. Part of that is we haven't found a great routine for it. Part of it is I don't like to show that I have needs. One of the defects of my character. I hate being needy. So, anyways, the discipline of honesty has a chance to change our life. We do it, we live it out by deciding to become people who tell the truth, who are on the side of the truth. Or at least we never lie. We never go to the other side. Number two, we commit to it. So I have an updating conversation with my wife after this. And number three, we hold our tongues. We omit stuff. When we're not ready to actually speak, we need time to process so that we never hurt others with our tongue. So we decide, we commit, and then we omit. We commit to being people of the truth. Anyways, hope this was helpful. As always, like, comment, share, or message me. If you've experienced some life change, that'd be amazing to hear from you. Just met with somebody last Thursday, actually, who's experiencing actually just a longing for God. So for those of you who like and comment and share and subscribe, you're actually a part of helping other people strengthen their soul. And hear me, when you do that, one of the promises of Jesus is always better to give than to receive. So as we help others, we are in turn are helped as well. Anyways, with all that being said, God bless you. Have a great night. We'll talk soon.